This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Hey everybody, it is the After Party live on a Waterfall Wednesday. I got some great waterfalls sent to me by, I believe Tammy is the one who sent me a really nice message, and some pretty cool waterfalls in Iceland. Some of them we might have seen before, but she sent me this video that's breathtaking and amazing. So I hope it works. I'm going to show it to you in just a few minutes, and I'm really excited to do that. But I have a lot of stories. First, before we jump into all of that, I'd love to take a look at the chat. Heather says, I just Googled capybara squeaks. Oh, that's so cute. Yeah, there's this cafe I'll tell you about in just a few minutes where you can go have lunch and hang out with giant rodents. It seems maybe unsanitary, but people are flocking to this place and absolutely loving it. Yes, Yvonne, getting the laundry done and folded and put away, doesn't that feel good? It's crazy how some simple task can make you feel like you've just accomplished so much. I let the debris build up. When you first walk in my house, you walk in, and to the one side is a living room and to the one side is the dining room. So when you walk in, the dining room table is not too far from the door, and it's the debris collector. So if there's a box that someone has set there to go back out to the recycling bin, or piles of mail, yesterday I cleaned off with the help of Jacob, cleaned off the dining room table. Got rid of all the boxes, got rid of everything. It's just a couple of days, and the stuff people just dump things there and it builds up. So anyway, I understand. It's so good to get something done and feel like you can look at it and it's accomplished and it's all through. Uh, I'm hanging up my laundry right now, says Mama. I had a message from someone else a couple of days ago, might have been Yvonne, who said they were doing the dishes while listening to the show. And I'm so glad to be a companion, even in the background, to just help you get through the work. So very cool. Thank you guys for being here. And let's get into these stories together. The first one I have for you is another museum. Oopsies. This is a pretty famous place, pretty famous picture. It's 300 years old, this painting. And this is at the Uffizi. And somebody was trying to copy the pose of the person, the prince in the middle picture there that you see. And unfortunately, while posing for a picture with the artwork, the selfie gone wrong, the person tripped and bumped into this painting of this Tuscan prince, Fernando de' Medici, or Medici, however you want to say it. I always said Medici, and then I saw the miniseries, and they say Medici. So, okay, whatever. The painting is from Anton Domenico Gabbiani. It was painted in 1712. And this person fell backwards while trying to make a meme in front of this painting by mimicking the pose of the prince. It was all caught on security cam and circulated over Italian media. This visitor was leaning back and then just fell into the painting, and there was a tear in the canvas as a result. The museum folks said the individual was identified by the police. The painting has been pulled. So you see it here on the wall. That's what it looks like right now. They had to take it down to fix it up. This 300-year-old painting. It was part of a display featuring 150 18th century masterpieces. It has been taken down, and the exhibit closed until after July 2nd, when it can reopen with this painting back on display. And the museum folks at the Uffizi say the problem of the visitors coming to museums to make memes or take selfies, this is one of the issues. It's so rampant, and we've seen it before, right? someone trying to take a picture and sat on that crystal chair and smashed it to smithereens recently. Yeah. The Uffizi is considering imposing restrictions on visitors' behavior. They say now they're going to set very precise limits, preventing behavior that is not compatible with the sense of our institutions and respect for our cultural heritage. Yeah. There was a similar incident this month. We talked about the crystal chair that shattered when someone was trying to make a joke and pretend to sit on it, then stumbled backward and it actually sat on this chair, which was not meant to be a real chair, but a piece of artwork, and completely crushed it. The museum says it would be ridiculous if it hadn't actually happened. It's a museum's worst nightmare. Sometimes we lose our brains to take a picture and we just don't think about the consequences. So, this very famous piece of art pulled down so it can be repaired. Selfie gone wrong. Mm. Calvin Wong sent me this next story, about a a pair of bears, two bears, at least two bears, who broke into a cabin and decided they wanted a little snack. Here it is. There they are. This is in the Tahoe Keys. Managed to come into the house, figure out how to open the door, kick their way in. Yeah. Oh, there's the bear cub. They're hungry. They're just going in for a snack. Don't worry about it. That's a nice kitchen. Oh, in the fridge, found something tasty. Don't mind them. They'll be out of your hair in just a minute. Oh, can you guys see this? Oh, I don't think you can see the video that I'm trying to show you. My apologies. Hold on, let me get the video up. Here it is. Okay, we'll try it again. In they go. Uh-huh. All caught on security cam. Again, this is in the Tahoe Keys. There's the little bear cub going in. And then pan over to the kitchen where there's a security cam and ring cam in the kitchen. And you can see the bear getting something out of the fridge. You know, a little lunch. It's so funny because it seems like just like they know what they're doing while they're raiding the fridge. They spent several minutes rummaging through the fridge, working to try to get the containers open. There was no one in this cabin when this happened. But yeah, again, Tahoe Keys. Look at him, or her, I should say, just going for it. I mean, at least have the manners to close the refrigerator door, don't you think? Yeah, they're trying right now to get the caps and things off of the containers they've taken from the fridge. Look at that. That gotta give it to her for her resourcefulness, you know? The problem with this is then once they get the food and once they realize where the food is and they can get in, then we have a problem. Because you don't want them to be too comfortable in human spaces. So, that's it. Tahoe Keys Snackerade. Yeah, it happens. It's normal in Tahoe, but love that it was caught on video. This is kind of a cute story. Look at this seesaw bench. This is a new thing that is being developed. You have to sit on it with the right people, though. I mean, if you sat on it with someone who was kind of ornery, this could go wrong in a real hurry. This is called the balance bench. It's a seesaw bench, and it has been installed in Einbeck, Germany, and it really does act like a seesaw. It is made of oak slats on a steel frame, and it was designed to rock back and forth like a seesaw, requiring you to work together with whoever else is sitting on the bench to find the equilibrium. The designer said the idea of this bench was to create an object in a public space that fosters communication instead of creating barriers. That they observed seating in public spaces isn't meant to provoke interaction, but to create distance. And that's really true. Most people keep to themselves, right? I mean, you don't, sometimes if you're next to someone on a bench, a conversation will strike up if something interesting happens near you or if it's a lovely day. But for the most part, you're sitting on the bench looking at your phone or waiting for someone. You're not chit chatting, unless you're me, because I'm a chit chatter. But in this case, if you sit on this bench, there's going to be laughter and there's going to be funny things that are happening. And there's going to be, some conversation here. And it looks like in all the pictures I've seen of people using this bench, that there are smiles and people are having a really good time. So this is an effort to create a usable sculpture that embodied social distancing, resulting in this balance bench. This is a public bench which only works with certain distance between two people, and yet only works when at least two people use it together. The concept was developed during COVID, during the pandemic. The artist was invited to design a temporary installation for an art festival and wanted to reflect the idea of social distancing. So it's interesting. The bench is made to go the long haul. It's rust resistant, made of galvanized steel. The the wood is framed by steel, but the steel only peeks out so that on hot or cold days there's no direct contact between the metal and the legs. So they thought of everything. What do you think? Would you, if there were a bunch of benches around, would you go to this one where you had to talk to people and work with people? Or would you go to the one that was normal where you could just kind of fold into yourself and your phone and not pay attention to others? What would you do? Rhonda says, I'm too old and fragile for that mess. There is no way. Rocking chairs are awesome, says Gordon. Unless you're overweight. Well, then you have to compensate, right? But if you were overweight, you would have to move closer to the middle of the bench. You couldn't sit on the far end. Susan says this is for people that want to remember their seesaw days again. Sandy, are no seesaws at playgrounds anymore because a kid would get off and the other kid would come crashing down and get hurt. It's all about working together. Mindy says kids are going to love this one. No, thank you, says Judy. See, I think this looks kind of fun. Yvonne says, so a scale needs to be there? No, I think you just know. You can gauge like where and if you sit and it goes to one side, then you scooch closer to the center and you work it out, right? Meredith says, and this is true. I think this is true. Depends on my mood at the time. Maybe you have a mood where you're in for fun and frivolity in the park, and maybe you have a mood where you just keep on walking by. I don't know. Next thing you know, says Vanessa, they'll be putting in adult-sized merry-go-rounds that people can fly off of. Gordon would try it. Sandy might try it, but thinks maybe she'd just keep walking to the normal bench. Maybe. SJ Lillis says a physics exercise. Right. Exercise in general. Moving. I don't know. They put like 15 pictures, and this is just, they're all the same. Some have more people, some have fewer people, and everyone is smiling in all of these pictures. They're having a blast. So I don't know. I think there's something to it. Tammy likes to go to the park to swing. Yvonne swings. I love it. Why not? Have a little fun in the world. Okay, let's talk about this red panda. It's kind of cute little picture. There's this Chinese hotel, and they are being ordered to stop red panda wake up call encounters. They brought red pandas into guests' rooms and allowed these red pandas to climb onto the beds where people were sleeping to wake them up. The Forestry Bureau in this area of China has ordered the Lehe Leidu Lingjiang Holiday Hotel to cease all activities that bring visitors into close contact with wild animals. Seems like a no brainer. Wild animals in the hotel room? No bueno. But this hotel had gone viral for its red panda wake up calls, which gave guests, including young children, hands on encounters with red pandas in their rooms. The hotel officials said there are 4 red pandas at their facility, and they would take turns making the visits to guest rooms. How long they spent with guests depended on the animal's mood and temperament on that day. These red pandas, which are really more like raccoons in the way they're sized, are second-class protected animals in China. They are listed as an endangered species on the International Union for Conservation of Nature and the Red List of Threatened Species. The Red Panda Wake-Up Call Service, according to a scientist with the World Animal Protection Organization, could be considered animal abuse, as red pandas are sensitive animals with stress responses that could endanger themselves or endanger the humans in their presence. It's a bad idea. You can almost, I can almost hear the discussion. Well, how do we get more people to come to the hotel? Oh, well, there's red pandas around here in the forest. What if we threw a red panda in the room with you and you could spend some time with it? Wild animals are unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to bite a kid? And plus, what is the red panda thinking when they're shoved into somebody's hotel room? I mean, no, just no. This is not what these animals are meant to be doing. We're using them for our entertainment value, and this bothers me. So I'm glad. The cease and desist order to this Chinese hotel. No more red panda wake up calls. Can you imagine? This animal just gets tossed on your bed? Crazy. How about this one? This is our Capybara Cafe. Look at that. It seems like maybe something you wouldn't want to go have lunch or food with a bunch of giant rodents around, right? That's an F on the healthcare scorecard, on the inspection scorecard. But this is in Florida. It's called the Capybara Cafe. And the folks that are in charge of it, that own it, say they're really surprised by how popular this is. I don't think they should be surprised. How often do you get to go hang out with a capybara? And it looks like the capybaras love it because they get fed. They're hosting about 100 customers a day. They have It's a regular cafe. They have everything: coffee, muffins, cookies, chips. The lobby, though, is full of small and large stuffed capybaras, paintings of capybaras, mugs and t-shirts featuring the animal. And when you walk around the corner to a small room, there live the capybaras who like to hang out with the humans. This is in St. Augustine, Florida. The Capybara Cafe, they say it's the first of its kind in the US that will allow you to feed, pet, and snuggle with the world's largest rodents. These are animals that are native to South America. And the whole idea for this place came from an animal rescue and rehab center, which needed money in order to stay open. So they opened this cafe to help raise money for the animal rescue operation. They say you work in any other field and you get unhappy customers and complaints. but not at the Capybara Cafe. They say, if anything, the complaints are, "Ah, I wish I had more time with the capybaras." The cafe is owned by the Noah's Ark Sanctuary, which has about 100 animals: foxes, skunks, squirrels, raccoons, possums, tortoises, snakes, miniature donkeys, lizards, you name it. They have 2 acres in Hastings, Florida, about 15 miles from the cafe. And last year, they were struggling to afford medicine for the animals, and they were on the verge of shutting down. So they sat around trying to brainstorm ways that they could make money. And one of the people who's a director for the sanctuary, her name is Angel. I think it's a she. Yeah, she thought about starting a cafe with animals. But unlike other cafes, like a cat cafe type of thing, she wanted people to interact with these capybaras. They are common attractions in Asia. And she said, I hoped everyone loved them as much as we do. And she was right. These are dog sized rodents. They have a calm demeanor, they're friendly, they have big snouts. So they rented an office building, transformed it into the cafe. They have 2 capybaras they got from breeders, one named Latte, one named Mocha. They live in a 1,200 square foot enclosure in at the sanctuary with a pond. And then they go into secure crates in the morning, and they go to the cafe by van. They have a motto at the cafe, "Don't worry, be cappy." 50 bucks it'll cost you to sit on the floor, on a couch or on a chair, just a few inches off the ground, put a blanket on your lap to protect your skin, and because they have some nails, and you can cuddle with the capybaras and pet their coats, which are kind of rough. Feed them hay, kale, collard greens, apples, oranges, and that's why they come right up to you, because they know they're going to get food. The capybara experience includes details. They'll come in and tell you all about how these animals can hold their breath for more than 4 minutes, how they can run up to 22 miles an hour. Now they have 5 capybaras that rotate for these encounters. So here's the question to you: is it like the hotel wake up call with the red pandas? Are we still using capybaras for our entertainment? Do the capybaras really want to hang out with people? They're getting food, they look happy. Or is it much the same thing? Whether it's dumping a red panda into a hotel room for a wake up call or going to a cafe to play with the capybaras, is it using animals for our entertainment? Is it wrong? The cafe doesn't feel wrong to me, and the red panda does. Trying to put my finger on why that is. Maybe because it's to help an organization that's helping animals. Maybe it's because, I don't know, the animals are getting fed and they're happy. Maybe it's because the red pandas seem more like wild animals. I don't know. What do you think? Is it the same thing? Is it different? Go into the chat. Hmm. Sandy says somehow you'd think a capybara would have a longer lifespan, but they don't. Oh, that's a bummer. Yeah. What do you think? Is it the same thing, or is it something different? Cappy exploitation, says Luis. They need to form a union for better conditions and more treats. I think they're getting a lot of treats. Ms. Organic says, I wish people would stop exploiting animals for their social media accounts. Yvonne says, I'm not up in my rodents info. I had a hamster at 10. Yeah. Looks like fun, says Mindy. I don't know why it feels different. One feels wrong and one feels okay. I don't know. I love how this one in her arm is kind of curling into her and looks like it's snuggly. But capybaras are wild animals too. So I don't know. Mindy says, I think the capybaras are having a good time. 'cause they're getting food, they're getting pet. Yeah. Tammy says if they're happy and the people are happy, it's a win-win. I suppose you could make the same argument for the red pandas, right? Heather says they seem happy, so I don't know. Yeah, they're taking jobs from the bots. I don't know. I just the stories are so similar in a way, but so different in another that I find myself comparing them. And am I not applying the same thinking to the plight of the capybara? I don't know. Hmm. Okay, let's move on. That's a nice ring. Pulled from the bottom of a lake in Texas. Divers recovered it. It looks like a pretty chunky diamond there. This professional diver went down into a Texas lake and was able to recover this diamond ring who was lost by a woman who went out on the water. This diamond wedding ring dates back to 1910. This woman said she and her son's baseball team were visiting the sandy beach area of Possum Kingdom when she realized her diamond wedding ring had fallen into Possum Kingdom Lake. Now, the baseball team was looking through the area with their parents and grandparents, couldn't find the missing jewelry, and so the divers were called out. Apparently, high winds caused rough waters, making the search difficult. The diver had to call off the search after a few hours, but then went back the next day when the conditions were more calm. And by evening the next day, the ring had been recovered. The woman said, I had been preparing myself for the last few days that it was lost and I wouldn't see it again. My ring is so special to me, and I had no idea how I'd get over this. I'm over the moon knowing it's coming home to me. I just, if you have a ring that's loose on your finger, don't wear it to somewhere special. Get it sized to fit you properly so it's not going to fly off your hand. And if you have something this valuable, why are you wearing it to Possum Kingdom? I don't know. How annoying that everyone on that trip had to stop what they're doing because your ring is too big. There's a study that shows 1 in 5 US food or drink products contain synthetic dyes. Not a surprise, really. I don't think. I mean, we eat a lot of processed food in America. Not so good for us. Synthetic food dyes are added to 1 in 5 packaged food and drinks sold by top US manufacturers. The most common dye, red 40. It was present in 1 out of 7 products. This is all in a new paper published Wednesday in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. The researchers say the products containing synthetic dyes also had a much higher average total sugar content compared to products without synthetic dyes, suggesting that companies are using synthetic food dyes to market sweet foods and beverages. We knew that, right? Red 40 is among 8 synthetic dyes that U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. has vowed to remove. He says they're poisonous compounds that offer no nutritional benefit and pose real dangers to health and kids' development. But they're widespread at the supermarket, they're everywhere. Researchers in this study evaluated the ingredients out of nearly 40,000 grocery store products produced by the top 25 US food manufacturers. They say, given the products, that kids are more likely to be exposed to these dyes. 28% of the products in the top 5 food categories marketed to children had synthetic dyes, compared with 11% in the remaining categories. These included confections, sugary beverages, ready-to-eat meals, breakfast cereals, baked goods, sports drinks, 79%, beverages made from concentrate, 71%, Confections, 54%, were the products most likely to contain synthetic dyes. Carbonated beverages, 30%. Confections, 26%. And sports drinks, 14%, represented the biggest share of products containing synthetic dyes purchased by Americans. So we can see it, know what we're buying, know what we're putting in. There's a call for these companies to reduce the use of their synthetic dyes in the products. I don't know. I mean, I don't need my food to look red or orange. I would be okay without the synthetic dye. Mm. Here's what we need. They're doing it in the EU to do it here. Look at all that space junk. The EU Space Act would track space debris objects and clear satellite debris. Totally responsible. If you're going to shoot it up there, have a way to collect it, get the space debris out, right? We're not operating by the uh, take only pictures, leave only footprints motto in space. Just shoot up the debris and then let it linger up there. The European Commission made a proposal to clean up Europe's space sector and reduce its footprint and make sure its satellites are better protected from hackers. They would like to enact this EU Space Act. It's an ambitious set of measures to make Europe's space sector cleaner and safer and more competitive in Europe and its export markets. They say the way Europe does things now, it's messy. There are 13 different national approaches. It's a patchwork that interferes with innovation and creates unnecessary costs. But if they adopt this Space Act, they would need to forcefully track space objects and clear out space debris so that Europe will have secure, uninterrupted access to space. It would also mean that cybersecurity will be beefed up to strengthen protection of European space infrastructure and ensure business continuity. It would require, and this is the key here, I think, all space vessel operators would be expected to keep track of how their off world activities affect the Earth's environment and would also receive innovative support from the EU toward technologies such as space debris removal and in orbit servicing. It would make it so non EU operators who provide space services to Europe would also have to follow these rules, with requirements scaled proportionally based on a company's size and risk profile. This is not a done deal. Has to be negotiated, go through some procedures, but they want to bring the EU Space Act, they say, to their launch pad, getting ready for the next era of space innovation. I could see someone like Elon Musk fighting against this. They want to shoot the satellites up. They don't want to clean anything up, which doesn't make any sense because eventually that space debris is going to give us real problems. So it would make sense to fix it as we go. Hmm. Speaking of space, NASA is working to fix. They have this space. It's the space station's X-ray telescope. It's called NICER. NICER. It stands for the Neutron Star Interior Composition Explorer. It's an X-ray telescope. Had a bad motor that paused its tracking of cosmic objects. And so NASA engineers are trying to fix it. They're pausing the telescope's operations, and they are not saying when they plan to get it back up and running or when they expect to. But this telescope is mounted on the International Space Station near the Starboard Solar Array. They've been using it since 2017. It can measure neutron stars, identify black holes, active galaxies, and other things in space as well. It can help map routes to Mars for future exploration and other missions. but it's had some issues. The latest one with a nicer telescope is just one of many that it's experienced. It developed a light leak in 2023 in which several thin thermal shields were damaged and let in sunlight that made the telescope useless during the daylight hours. So that was all patched up and fixed. But unfortunately, it led to some smaller cracks and holes that still allowed light to enter the telescope. So that was reconfigured. But there was additional damage to the thermal shield, which then caused NASA to minimize daytime observations. So we'll see if they can get it fixed and back up and running. Uh, Lotto of the day. Let's do it. $80,000 lottery ticket pulled out of the garbage. Happened in Kentucky. This woman rescued an unscratched lottery ticket from the trash and discovered it was an $80,000 winner. Happened in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Her name is Pamela. She told the lottery officials there this $5 Flamingo Bingo scratch off ticket caught her eye before, but she never bought one until her recent visit to the Speedway. She said, I had this premonition to go get that ticket. So she used $200 in winnings from another ticket. Apparently, she's a very prolific player to buy 4 Flamingo Bingo games. She said they laid on the counter all day long. I'd forgotten about them. So at about 11:30 that night, I decided to play them. The first 3 weren't winners, so I just put them in the trash. Then I was like, where's my 4th ticket? I looked in the trash and thought, oh my gosh, I threw it away. The ticket she rescued from the garbage turned out to be the big winner, chicken dinner. She said, I scanned it. Of course, I started crying. I started shouting and I started screaming, and I immediately called my daughter and my mom. My mom, she said, has always said she would give anything if she could just see me hit a big ticket before something happens to her. When I called her that night I won, she was so thankful and happy for me, she said. $80,000 on a scratcher that she almost threw away. Uh, I do want to get to the beautiful video sent in by Tammy. So let me make that happen. I hope this works for us. Tammy writes in that she had one of these DNA tests done, like a 23andMe style deal. And she said, my DNA test came back with some Icelandic roots on my dad's side. I'm guessing way far back because this is a total mystery. And in doing some general research on it, I found some epic waterfalls, and I thought you might find it useful for a Waterfall Wednesday. Peace to you, Tammy. Tammy, what a nice message. Thank you. And I love knowing that you have, you say Icelandic, I'll say Viking origins. But Tammy sends this incredible video of some spectacular waterfalls that I want to share with you. There are 25 of them, the spectacular waterfalls. Take this down, put this up, and here they are. I may have to zap the sound on this, even though it's super peaceful. Look at that. This is the Gullfoss Golden Waterfall. That is powerful. Look at all of that water coming down, creating the mist. So incredible. They have it from different angles. Looks like drone footage used to get the angles of this beautiful waterfall. This is the Brewerfoss. They call this Iceland's bluest waterfall. And blue it is. Look at that. That light turquoise. Gorgeous. This is the Oxarafoss. Oxarafoss. Looks like a bunch of shale. The Granny, Iceland's 5th tallest at 101 meters. That's a long way down and so, so beautiful. We're looking at here, water coming off of these cliffs in multiple places, like 5, 6, 7 waterfalls. This is the Guyane Valley, and you can see again multiple waterfalls in this area. The Gyarfos waterfall. The Gyainfoss waterfall. This one's maybe a little lower to the ground. Sure is pretty there. So much. Apparently, yes, the Game of Thrones filmed in this area, according to this video that Tammy sent. And thank you, Tammy, for this video. This is the Hjálparfoss waterfall, and look at that. It looks like twin waterfalls, massive twin waterfalls ending in this lake. They say it means help waterfall because it was a great help to horses, this lush area right near the waterfall. Look at that. This is the, I'll say it wrong, Sigoldufoss waterfall. It's truly dreamlike. It looks like a chilly, chilly place, but it also looks so beautiful. The Glyufrabui waterfall. The name means one who lives in a canyon. And what a shot that is, straight up. And the amount of water hitting the ground, so powerful. Seljandenfoss waterfall. Looks like a couple smaller waterfalls and then one big, powerful waterfall. So pretty. Telling you I could watch this all day. Skogafoss waterfall. This one has a lot of greenery around it. So peaceful. There's a legend that suggests there are treasures buried in a cave behind this one. Multiple waterfalls in this area. Just wow. It's majestic. Hestavafoss. I said it wrong. But we're going with it. So incredible. Fosterfufoss. So many beautiful waterfalls in Iceland, a country from whence Tammy hails originally, way back in time. So pretty. Well, that's Waterfall Wednesday. Hopefully, even though I blabbered on through instead of the peaceful music, you have found some measure of relaxation watching the water come down. I love a waterfall you can walk behind. Very cool. The difference in the video in this shot of the water, not a waterfall surrounded by greenery, but this just stark, dark cliffside with the water coming down is really beautiful in a different way. All right. That is Waterfall Wednesday. And again, I could show you the entire video, but it's 10 minutes long. So I don't know if we have time. Do we have time? Maybe we'll have time to look a little bit more. Yeah, it's very cool. I do. I already liked the video. Perhaps I should subscribe as well. I don't know. Anyone giving me these views of waterfalls deserves my click, my subscribing click. Really incredible. Thanks, Tammy, for sharing this video. I'm so glad you happened upon it. And let us know what you find out about the origins of your family. If you go back in time and figure out who the Icelandic relative was. That's weird, isn't it? Selfos. It's like water has a hard time mixing. Looks very different, muddy on one side and clear on the other. Beautiful rainbow over a massive waterfall called Dedifoss. It's Europe's second most powerful waterfall. Power is right. Look at that. Incredible. Yeah, really nice. I'll just play maybe I'll play a little music while we listen. What do you think? I think I can do that. Don't go in. Mhm. Well, there we go. So there we had it. Some waterfall Wednesday, Icelandic waterfalls. Uh, I don't know if that music is the most peaceful one I have. What do you think of this one? I could have used this one. A little too electronic for me. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to search for some good waterfall music if we have a long one like that in the future. No, that's too fun. No, I'll keep looking. That is the show on a Waterfall Wednesday. Again, big thanks to Tammy for the recommendation. If you have any recommendations for waterfalls or places to visit on Travel Tuesday or some cool caves that you've come across, you can always send me a message, drop me a line, Kim at theafterparty.live. Kim at theafterparty.live, and I'd love to hear from you. Thanks to Calvin Wong for sending some stories in. Thank you to teacher Lori for sending some stories in, and thanks to Tammy for the waterfalls. And thank you to everyone who contributes to keep this show rolling here on YouTube. The PayPal information is in the show description and in the About tab. And I'm so appreciative of everyone who has set up the monthly payments to keep things going here. That includes Joyce M., Vicky S., Alicia P., Ms. Organic, Wes, who has thrown in $5 here and there. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Again, the PayPal information is in the About tab, and it's also in every day's show description. And the super chats and super stickers are always live. I love your comments, even the after hours comments. I always try to click a heart or a like or a love. And thank you to Rand Halling for always commenting, Ricky as well. Teacher Lori always throws in a comment, getting a lot of comments from Kathy and Campbell as well. So thank you. And if I missed you, I'll try to get to you tomorrow and make sure that I write everyone down who leaves comments in the after hours. It helps them because I guess in the algorithm, it lets them know people are interacting with the show, and then they serve it up to more people. Click like and subscribe on the way out, and make this Waterfall Wednesday the very best day you can. I will see you tomorrow here on YouTube, 11 o'clock. On the Mark Thompson Show, we've got David Katz, the former federal prosecutor. It's always a great conversation. Trivia Thursday on the After Party Live, always super fun. And Nikki and I have taped a really great show for you tomorrow as well. She is on travels through the United States. The show is at 5 p.m. here on YouTube, The Nikki Maduro Show. Would love to have you hang out with us for that show as well. All right. Make it the best day, everybody. And I will see you tomorrow here on the YouTube. But for now, bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Oh, so noted. Thank you. What's up, FP?